Hi, Dr. Danielle Delaney here, and today I want to talk about protecting your peace and ending toxic friendships. I feel like over the course of our lives, we tend to collect people that we stay close to for a variety of reasons, but a lot of it is proximity and a lot of it is familiarity. A lot of it is we grew up with these people. We grew up with them at elementary school, summer camp, church, temple, whatever religious organizations we may have grown up going to, junior high, high school, could be mommy and me classes that people start taking as they begin to have children. It could be anything. It could be some sort of hobby that we engage in and we've started taking classes and engaging with people that are in those classes. Could be just about anything. But when we start having friendships that diminish us in one way or another, or don't feel comfortable when we walk away from that person, we don't feel safe, we don't feel nurtured, we don't feel lifted up, uplifted by the people that we're around, which is what we want to do for people we're around. We want other people to uplift us as well. It should be a mutual experience, a mutual exchange of energy that makes both people feel good and feel better in this life that we're all walking each other through. When it starts to be negative and it starts to be just plain bad and it's not healthy for us, how do we end those friendships? And I want to talk about that a little bit today. I'm Dr. Danielle Delaney. I have double doctorates in theology and divinity, so I help us all to walk through life and understand the existential questions of why me, why are these things happening to me, what are these divine delays, as I call them, that have landed in my life that are delaying my development. And I like to talk about self-improvement and transformation and the things that we can do to make our lives better. I'm a counselor, I am an interventionist and a host and a speaker, and I enjoy helping other people get through the experiences that we all go through in this life. So we're all just walking each other home. And it's difficult in friendships when they start to become something that's not healthy, that isn't something that we feel good about, that isn't something where we feel like we're spending time with this person and we feel better for it and that they feel better for it, when it starts to really be a drain rather than a fountain. And that's what we want. We want people in our lives that are fountains and not drains. And that's not only for when we've gone through trauma, which is a lot of what I discuss on this channel. It's also just for the day-to-day of living your life, of who you associate with, of who you have in your immediate surroundings, who you make appointments to spend time with. It's a waste of your time if it's negative and if it doesn't feel good for you. And a lot of people don't really know what to do about that. And the first thing I want to talk about is protect your peace. Protect your peace. Who else is going to do that for you? Your peace is your peace of mind, your sanity, the way you feel in your own skin. And it's up to each one of us to protect that. No one's going to do it for you. People aren't going to just self-eliminate from your life because they recognize that they're not helpful to you. That's a you thing. That's something you need to recognize. And we all need to do an internal audit of our lives from time to time to think about and to really examine who are we spending our time around and what is that doing for our lives. And I don't mean this in any kind of a transactional way where everyone in your life is supposed to bring something to you monetarily or career-wise or anything like that. I'm talking about the emotional bank that we all have that we need to take care of and make sure that the checks and balances are even in our life. Are we giving more than we're getting from people in our lives? Are we feeling depleted after we spend time with certain people? Are they healthy for us? Does our nervous system feel peaceful and regulated? You don't owe anyone your nervous system. And I'll say that again. You don't owe anyone your nervous system. If someone makes you feel, and people can say no one can make you feel any kind of way. Yes, they can. I disagree with that when people say no one can make you feel anything. Of course they can. And there are people that just being in their energy, just being around them is depleting for you and doesn't feel good for you. And if something's not good for you, it's up to you to make that stop. It's up to you to sever that tie. And just because you've known someone a long time doesn't mean that they're good for you. Doesn't mean that they need to be in your life indefinitely. And it doesn't have to be a harsh ending or a quote unquote like friendship breakup. I've had conversation with someone before in order to establish that I felt like it was time to move on, that there was nothing in common anymore. And it didn't go well. They didn't understand, they misunderstood. They made it sound to others as though I dumped them in some horrible way, where really I just felt there wasn't anything good to grow from in this anymore. And I was becoming resentful, and I wanted to be honest about it. I didn't feel like spending time with this person was good for me, and I needed to stop being around her. And I can't be fake. I didn't want to pretend that the friendship was worthy of either of our time and attention. It's like a plant, you're watering it, you're taking care of it, you're nurturing it. We just were going in different directions. I felt misunderstood, and I felt like we just didn't have anything in common anymore. So what's the point? What's the point if you don't feel good around someone? And not everybody has to accept it. You have to accept it. You have to know what's best for you. So that's something I'd like to discuss too. You're not an extra in someone else's movie. This is your life. This is your movie. People talk about main character syndrome. Well, you are the main character. I'm the main character of my life. We're all the main character of our own lives. And that's in an ideal world where you're not looking at your life where you're an extra in someone else's movie. And you're not. You need to be in charge of where your life is going. You need to be steering this vehicle. You're not just a ride-along partner in the jump seat, in the passenger seat of someone else's car that you have no control over, and where you're there to witness all of the things in their life, but you're not present for yourself, or we don't feel good about what you're witnessing, or you don't like this person anymore. You don't like who they're becoming. Sometimes we become more who we are in life, and then other times there are life stage transitions where we just don't connect, where we just don't click anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just time to move on. So do that for yourself. Really think about it. Take an audit of who you have in your life and who you have around you. And do you feel like you're a background player in someone else's life? Do you feel like their energy is not healthy for you to be around? There's just people that you have those thoughts after you see them that you think, what did they mean by that? What was that about? Why did they say that to me? Or various ways of feeling that just aren't positive when you come away from an interaction with somebody. We have enough of that we have to tolerate, whether it's in a work environment or whether it's in family, which I'll talk about next. But it's not something that you have to be stuck in. You are not a tree. I say this all the time. You are not stuck. You are not a tree. If there are changes that need to be made in your life for your life to be more amenable to you, the person who is living it, make those changes. And if it means eliminating some people from your life where there's some toxicity or where there's misunderstandings or where you just don't connect, you always kind of miss the point with one another, or you come away feeling misunderstood, or you come away feeling judged or looked down upon or diminished in some way. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that, honestly? Why are you continuing with that connection? And it can be so many different things. It can be the way someone raises their children, that you don't vibe with that. It can be the way someone speaks to you or speaks to others around them. It can be the way someone leads their life, that it's just, you're fundamentally misaligned, that they're always arguing some point. They're always having some sort of a disagreement, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with a neighbor. There's always something, there's always some kind of problem. And there are people that have a problem for every solution, that they just are always looking for an issue. And people like that will bring you down. They are drains. They are not fountains. They are not people bringing something positive to your life. Why are you doing that? Why are you around that? If this is someone that always makes you kind of question yourself and question your choices, and I don't mean in a healthy way, I mean in a way where they're diminishing your strength and diminishing your wherewithal to do the things you need to do to progress in your future, to have self-transformation, and to have your resilience bring you back to where you need to be and where you're working on things, where you have goals, where you have dreams, where you have things you're trying to do with your life that are non-negotiables for you. And this person or these people are just making you feel small or unsupported or misunderstood. why would you continue that connection? Is it because you've known them a long time? Is it because you feel that you owe them something? I'll tell you something. As someone who has gone through extreme violence and trauma of random crime, I'm a crime survivor, and that actually led me to a lot of my work, not only to my healing work for myself, but to my work with my clients, where I work as an interventionist, where I work as a crisis counselor, where I work as someone who helps people through different life stage transitions. I've done this work for 20 years, and I have this book that I wrote called Expect Delays: How to Reclaim Your Life, Light, and Soul After Trauma, available at expectdelaysbook.com. I'll put it in the description. But as someone who has gone through so many adverse life experiences, particularly the kidnap and assault that I went through, people who were in my life at that time, who were coming over, bringing soup, being kind, seeing me and my family and being very supportive. I was harmed very much. I was beaten very severely, had a brain stem injury, had serious concussion, had been stepped on and beaten and thrown from a moving car. So I had multiple injuries that took years and years to heal, not to mention my psyche and my psychological injuries and PTSD and all of that. But what led to me having post-traumatic growth rather than the post-traumatic stress that I was steeped in for years was recognizing and realizing that sometimes people are present through something because it's a story that they can tell, that, oh, I was there, when they brought her back from the hospital, I was there. I was one of the first phone calls, or, oh yeah, her parents called me to talk to me about it, or the police talked to me because they wanted to know, what did I know? And she told me something that she may have forgotten, or the detectives, or, they were interested in the drama. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I owe them for the rest of my life. There were people who were present for me that then suddenly weren't. Maybe it reminded them of something that happened to a loved one, but they vacated my life. And I don't owe them my energy, my time, and certainly not my peace and my sanity. I don't need to continue to spend time with people that weren't present for me when I needed them. And it's really hard not to feel obligated or indebted to certain friends or people who've been in your life just because it's been a long time. But just because someone's been in your life for a long time or at the wrong time doesn't mean that they deserve to be in your life for the duration. When things start to go south and you don't feel good around someone and somehow things have just gone left and you just don't feel comfortable with these people or this person. And it can be anyone in your life, honestly, anyone. And whatever position they hold in your life, they don't have to hold that position in your life forever. So if you're feeling that there are some people that you're an extra in their movie, you feel like you're, put in the background and you're not focused on, and they're not really caring or asking about you and what's going on with you, or you feel misunderstood, not heard, whatever you're doing and working on is just cute to them, and they make little remarks that are diminishing and insulting in their own way, or the backhanded compliments. You know what they're doing, and people know what they're doing. And stop giving them excuses. People know what they're doing. And you need to get away from certain energies and certain people and trust your instincts, trust your gut, especially if you've been through a lot in your life, if you've been through adverse childhood experiences. I work with a lot of adult molested as children. I work with a lot of crime survivors. I work with a lot of people who've been through divorce of their own or in a family that suffered through divorce. Whatever you've gone through that's extremely difficult has made your senses sharper. I call it your Spidey senses. You may have sharper judgment than you think. And if you've survived a lot in your life, it means that you've managed to survive through different energies that were not for your highest good. So you need to trust your Spidey senses more than some others may, because you definitely have that gut instinct that you trusted either to save your own life or to get away from situations that were very difficult and adverse situations, or to survive situations where you did everything right if you survived and you're a sex crime survivor. Just that you're still here says a lot. So trust your gut, trust your instinct, trust those Spidey senses. When you don't feel right around someone, it's time to end that connection, that friendship, that relationship. Whether it's a neighbor you encounter, keep it short. If it's a friend who's trying to make plans with you, you're unavailable. Just after a while, maybe they'll stop asking. And if they don't, then at some point you'll have to step up and let them know that this isn't working for you, that you just don't have time in your life to be pursuing friendships and time with people right now, that you're working on yourself. Whatever it takes, but protect your peace, protect your sanity. You don't owe anyone your nervous system. Absolutely not. You owe yourself to take care of yourself. Who is going to do it? And why are you doing that if you don't feel good around that person? If you come away from them with that puzzled feeling of what just happened, what did they say to me? Why did they say that thing to me? Just, you're right about it. If that's how you feel, you're right about it. If it doesn't feel healthy and it doesn't feel peaceful and it doesn't feel mutually supportive, you're right, and step away from it. You don't owe that to anybody. Proximity is programming. If you're spending time around somebody, it's programming your brain. When you're around negative people, it programs your brain. It informs your future. So if you're spending time around people that bring you down, stop it. Stop doing that. The second thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes it can be your family. It can be disapproval. It can be misunderstandings. It can be judgment of the way you live your life. You're not living some alternative lifestyle that people get to disapprove of. You're living your life, your one and only life. So if someone is making you feel less than, or not making you feel that the things you're doing are achievable, the goals you're trying to reach, the things you're working on, and taking time away, precious time, by the way. We all have 24 hours in the day, but we all have to work. We all have other obligations. We have family. We have people that we love, that we want to spend time around. We have things we've got to take care of for ourselves, our health, our exercise, our own studies and reading, and things that support our brain and our healthy development and help with our own personal transformation, which we should all be working on at all times. We've never really reached the pinnacle. We're a work in progress, right? So why spend time where people are dragging you down? And if it's family, unfortunately, the same rules apply. If there are people that are making you feel less than and that you're unable to take the time that you need for yourself, you may not need to entirely cut them off, although there are circumstances where that's necessary. It may just be adjusting how much of your energy that you give to those people and the time that you spend around that person. If they don't understand that you've got to live your own life and that you are on your own journey of self-transformation and growth and taking care of yourself and learning, and also just the day-to-day of doing the work it takes to just be a person, having doctor's appointments, going to your appointments, getting to the things you need to get to, doing the things you need to do to build your life and just to maintain, just to maintain your life and to earn a living. And they're always asking something of you, and that when you're around them, you don't feel good, you don't feel positive. Well, then minimize your exposure to people, places, and things that make you feel small, because it's your choice. We all have a choice in this life, and your choices and your habits inform your future. That's who you become. Your habits decide who you become. The people you're around is one of your habits, and you can form toxic habits with toxic people, or you can have positive, nurturing relationships and going toward healing, leaning in to self-development and transformation. The choice is yours. So if you're around toxic people, make it a non-negotiable to take care of yourself. Take care of you. Work on you. Who else is going to do that work? No one is coming to save you. There is no one who is going to start doing a life audit for you of who should and shouldn't be in your life and who shouldn't be in your space other than you. So take yourself in hand and think about who is and isn't contributing to the positive things you need to have in your life to function and perform at your best. So think about it, really think about it, and eliminate the relationships that are drains rather than fountains. Take care of you, and until next time, make sure that you are your priority.